I think I'm finna just make It's a Wrap my alarm clock for this season. Like, I play it at least once a day. But that part in particular, it kept standing out to me. And if y'all saw my reel on Instagram, I already posted me singing it like the other day. But on Facebook, so it's hard to keep up with me sometimes because I post on everything. But on Facebook, I wrote an overdue post yesterday about how God was making it clear to avoid certain type of men in this season, right? Like, or in this hour. Insecure, jealous, hypocrites, bitter, right? And I know I'm specifying men, but have we not learned our lesson in that concerning women, right? And most of the time we have to pay attention to that because we are befriending women, right? And I was the one who's had to heal from, like, I can't be friends with women. Yes, you can. Stop befriending women who are so hurt, though, that what moves through them hates you and is trying to tear you down and sabotage what you got going on, right? Like, that was a lesson. But particularly men. And the reason it's men, because truthfully, the same thing we learned in the previous season concerning women, it's the same thing with men. It's all humans, but it's men in particular in this hour because the places and the spaces that God has called you to, right? If you're like me, predominantly dominated by men, okay? And you even see that when it comes to church and ministry and stuff. And so when God is sending in this little 5-2 firecracker, no matter where it is, truth-telling, prophetic firecracker, it's gonna shake some things up, okay? And so yes, the enemy can move through grown men to try to sabotage, plot, and gossip and manipulate. Like, what I see, what happens often is, like, they might feel a little intimidated, a little threatened, but it's okay as long as they feel like they can control you. It's when they realize they can't control you because they can't control God, that's when it really starts to come out. Okay, so you still have to pay attention to what men say in speech because you're not going to be talking to me crazy. Again, if my man don't talk to me crazy, you're not going to be talking to me crazy. If my daddy don't talk to me crazy, you're not going to be on the internet talking to me crazy. You get what I'm saying? So it can move through men as well. God may be having you in a place, in a space that they want to be in. Don't think that's, the devil don't discriminate. He'll hop at anybody, right? So be mindful of that. And the reason being, don't let them intimidate you out of your position, out of your spot, or make you feel like you're less called, less gifted, less deserving, less knowledgeable, less in tune with the Holy Spirit. Don't let them do that, okay? Don't let them do that. Another thing, because I don't know where everybody's at on the channel, I dated these men, right? Had to graduate from that. Homie don't even like me. Homie really bullying me like them mean girls, right? And I'm dating him. How did that even happen? Right? So it's the same lessons. Confidence kills. You got to know who you are, whose you are. The enemy going to move through whoever he can move through, broken men or women, human period, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Like, I really do be trying to be like, tell the truth, but also stay gracious, because for me, I usually know Jezebel's moving through a man when I want to call him out and tell him he acting like a girl. Like, when that comes up in me, which I don't ever say that anymore. Like, I used to tell my one ex that all the time, which I kind of regret because I really should have been mature enough to remove myself, but I wasn't, right? Because you also, it's very delicate because you don't want to be, like, you want to set them straight, but you don't want to, like, super damage their ego. And not with anybody. Like, no matter how they acting towards you, like, that's been very hard for me. Like, nah, they needed that setting straight. You know what I'm saying? But, like, no, they really didn't. You got to be mature enough and gracious enough to walk away. But I was just telling them this when we went to Texas, and they was laughing. But I'm like, no, that's literally how I know if Jezebel has hopped in a man, because I have a strong urge to tell him what he really acting like what they be saying in the rap songs. But I won't say it. But, yeah, so just be mindful of that and don't let it move you. Like, you got to know that you still are just as chosen, qualified. And I'm not saying, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. If God put you there, you chosen and you qualified for it. If God called you to it, you for it. Don't let no insecure man let you feel like you ain't supposed to be where God put you. And that's just period. Men be just as fake, smiling your face, and really just want to feed off of what God has going on for you too. It's not just women. Men can be that way too. Okay? So just be mindful of that, okay? You should not, like, and not protected by a man. I think that's what made me mad, right? Because it'd be like, you out here acting like these women. And of all things, you are supposed to be looking after women. And you out here acting like you ain't got no sense. You acting like, right? And then that turned me up. And again, I've dealt with that for a long time. Like, how you my daddy age and you feel away. I'm gonna need you to move. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So yeah, just be mindful of that. I put the more mature posts on Facebook, I will argue, but keeping it real with y'all on here. Okay? Watch it. Don't be moved by it. But I missed something. I got really carried away on that. Mariah Carey says, if I ever misrepresented my self-image, then I'm sorry. It was never that. Like, that. A lot of people are figuring that out. It was never that. If it was ever given that, it wasn't supposed to. People get really comfortable when you are not consistent and when you are not confident. And so then when you show up as yourself and how they be acting be hilarious, because it was never that. I don't know why you thought it was ever that. It was never that. And it was never that serious. And now they're about to find out. Men included. It's not just women, right? It was never that. It was never that. Okay? So... And I also wrote down, I had to go check some of my notes, that I also wrote down, that's why they be butt hurt, because now you showing up confidently. Remember, confidence kills jealousy, even if it's moving through a man. But Mariah Carey goes on to say she was acquiescent, but she learned her lesson. Boy, you sorry. Which ultimately, yeah, that's the devil, but he moving through these people. But acquiescent means basically to just do what somebody else tells you to do, and you do it without protest. This is completely separate of... You know, we are supposed to be submissive wives. We're supposed to be gracious women. Right. I'm not talking about that, though. I'm talking about men who trying to control and manipulate you no matter where it's at. Like I said, church, work, friends, a man you might have accidentally started dating because you didn't realize Jezebel was in him. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, no. So when you stop just letting stuff slide, because folks thought it was sweet, it ain't sweet no more. Ain't nothing sliding no more. They finna find out. Like, mess around and find out. That's the time we on. I learned my lesson. It was never that. It was never given that. It was never that. Okay? Like, they finna find out. All right? So, lesson learned. It's a wrap.